Hello and welcome to another edition of JCN's Gameplay and Waffle, and this time we are in Final Fantasy XIV, and this edition is going to be all about housing within Final Fantasy XIV. In the background you can see the celebrations for the annual The Rising event, which celebrates the launch of A Realm Reborn. And we are currently in one of 5 housing districts. This one is in the city-state of Gridania, and you can see it's absolutely beautiful. Now, in Final Fantasy XIV, we have about concurrently 30 million people playing the game, and people will be playing from different servers depending on their location within the world. Each of the servers is known as a world, and I think we have, there are about 60 different worlds in Final Fantasy XIV at the moment. I don't know the exact number, but it's something like that. So the way that housing works on each of the worlds, and all the worlds are a mirror, a copy of the game Final Fantasy XIV, is that in each city housing district, of which there are 5, I'll bring up the HUD. There are, as you can see, 30 wards. Now all of these wards, as you can see plots 1 to 30, 31 to 60. On each ward you have 30 plots of land, and the 30 plots of land are copied, mirrored from 31 to 60. So the plots on 31 to 60 are exactly the same as the plots on 1 to 30, and 1 to 60, the plots 1 to 60 are mirrored, copied in each of these wards, and subsequently in each of the servers, the worlds that exist within the game, Final Fantasy XIV throughout the world, the real world. I hope that makes sense. So, plots of land are purchased by in-game currency, and the in-game currency is known as gil. This has nothing to do with the real world money. Gil is earned in-game by doing quests, by doing various activities, by selling things in the marketplace that you collect or craft as a character. And in the past, when a plot of land became available, it was a first come first served situation. This situation about at least a year ago, changed to a lottery system. In fact, I think it is probably 2 years ago now. And the way that system works is that when a plot of land becomes available, you go to that plot of land and you put down the money for the land, and you get a lottery number, and then you have to wait about 5 days, and the results are then made available, and you will know if you've won when you go to the plot that you bid on. If you weren't lucky, you will receive the money that you put down back, and then you have to wait another 4 days before you are able to start bidding again on a different property. So basically, you get an opportunity to bid on a property every week. Now, what I thought I'd do is I'm going to show you the plot of land that I used to own. Bear in mind that it's a copy, it's a mirror of the property that the land and the property that I owned. And on the way, you'll be able to see some of this district in Gridania. It's absolutely beautiful. So we'll come up here and you'll already be seeing different houses, different sizes of houses. And all this housing here is either owned by private individuals, private buyers such as myself, so solo players, or by groups of societies, which in Final Fantasy XIV are known as free companies. In World of Warcraft, they'd be known as guilds. Now, in the past, private buyers could buy large properties. Now, I'm pretty sure that they are unable to do that now. Only free companies or societies can buy the largest properties in Final Fantasy XIV. There are 3 different sized plots of land that you can buy, and hence 3 different types of building that are in the housing districts. So an example of the smallest is a cottage, which is this one here. A medium property is known as a house, which is here. This is a house. And then the largest property is known as a mansion, and that's here. And as I've stated already, that's just, as far as I know, for societies, groups of people known as free companies. So the plot of land I used to own is right here. This is a copy, this is a mirror, and I love this property here because it's right next to this waterfall. It's so picturesque. It's a brilliant place, and it's on a little rocky alcove, a little rocky outcrop with its own bridge. Beautiful property. That has to be, in my view, one of the most sought after properties for individual buyers in Final Fantasy XIV. But because I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV now for over 4 years, I'd collected so much stuff through quests and events and things like that I literally just ran out of space to be able to put anything in the property. So over 5 months ago, I decided to start bidding on properties in Final Fantasy XIV in the different housing districts. Remember, this is just one. This is in Gridania. There are 4 others in different cities in Final Fantasy XIV. And so that's what I did. And to be honest, I started to give up. I started to think, well, maybe it's not actually worth doing, because every week I fail to secure a property. And some weeks the properties, the plots of land that I wanted, there were over 60 people bidding for the same plot of land. Housing in Final Fantasy XIV is extremely sought after. But a few days ago, I managed to secure a medium property, a medium plot of land, and finally upgrade. And the way that works is you accept the new plot of land, and they automatically sell the old plot of land that you owned, if you already owned a property like myself, and the building. They clear that, but all of the items that you had in the building and in the garden is immediately transferred to your new property. It's amazing. So before I actually show you the property I received or managed to secure, let's have a look at a property I was considering. This one here, which is really sought after. This plot of land here. And I really thought about bidding on this one. This one is extremely popular. So if you bid on this particular plot of land in Britannia, there's going to be an awful lot of people bidding for it. But it's absolutely beautiful. Look, it's got its own little kind of lily pond. You can actually jump in the water here. Isn't that great? But in the end, I decided against it. One of the other reasons, I thought it was a little bit exposed. It is beautiful. It's very picturesque. But I wanted something a little bit out of the way. And so in the end, I decided to bid for a different plot of land. And that plot of land is right here. This is my new house, and I kind of like it because it's, you know, it's a little out of the way. So let's get rid of this, give you a guided tour. Quite exciting, isn't it? We have our gates, and it's great that it's at night because you get to see all the lighting effects. So we have a little small camping table here. This is fantastic. This is my stargazing platform. We do have a waterfall out in the back there, but I like it up here. It feels a lot more secluded. You can see the fireworks and beautiful. The moon. And so this was from an event. And then we have this from a Halloween event, this pumpkin carriage, all illuminated. You can sit down in there. We have our water feature and fountain, mini etherite, mailbox, and we have the ultimate kettle, which you receive from a very long-winded and convoluted quest line for a relic weapon. And once you've secured the weapon, the quest line continues, and eventually you end up with the ultimate kettle. It goes well with the outdoor barbecue area and stove, pizza oven. We have our heated water sauna kind of idea here. So it looks very beautiful at night. See how beautiful this game looks. And so let's have a look inside. Alright. And so here we are in... Let's get rid of this cursor if I can. It's misbehaving for some reason. There we go. Now, in the small cottage properties, this would be the first floor, and then you have a floor below. In the houses, we have this area, that area below, and an area above. And then you can immediately see that I have collected an awful lot of stuff. We have our little NPCs here, vendors and repair artisans. Lots of things I've collected along the way. All of this took over 4 hours to put back in some kind of order, and I pretty much put it back in a way that resembled the way I had the cottage, but obviously I have an awful lot more space. This is from the new expansion. It's a drinks vendor. And so if we got, before we go upstairs, this, by the way, is very interesting. You'll see this little alcove and this kind of panel. If I had purchased this as the leader of a free company, a society, as I was describing earlier on, that would actually be a door leading off to separate rooms for each of the people within the free company. They all get their own room, which is the equivalent of an apartment. So in Final Fantasy XIV, there are plots of land that you can purchase, but there are also apartment buildings, and you can buy an apartment. Well, you used to be able to buy an apartment. Now it would be a lottery system again. But they're far cheaper and tend to be less demanded than the plots of land. So here's the main area. You can see lots of things here, lots of decorations, models of creatures that I've defeated, vanquished. Hydaelyn, of course, had to have hearts floating next to Hydaelyn. I've got the lady herself, the elder seed seer. She is the head of the Gridanian city-state. We've got our bed. We've got our. Fender actually built that guitar. That's just a model of a guitar that actually exists, a Final Fantasy XIV guitar. Have our indoor fountain from the gold saucer, more models, lots of posters and art and things from in-game quests and events. A jukebox which is playing all the music in the background, which the music you can collect from quests and things like that. Have our coffee to hand, a vortex couch to sit by the fireplace, crystal tower, our main desk, all these plushies of both NPCs and creatures that I've met on the travels, a picture of Eorzea, that is the world of Final Fantasy XIV. Well, actually, the old map of Final Fantasy XIV, it's been expanded because of the new expansion. An awful lot of this is going to mean a lot more to people who are familiar with Final Fantasy XIV. So that's my main area. And let's go and look finally at the lower floor, the basement area. Now I've partitioned this wall I've put in with the arch, and we have our dining area here. So we have all our stoves and all our food collection. You'll notice on this stove here we have this egg basket, the tacos and the corn on the cob. Those separate items I've placed on top of the stove, and these come from quests and special events. Again, that plate is from an event. That basket is from an event. Now this table here is actually supposed to be a table used for, like a war room table. But I really like it. And I think it serves well as a dining table. It even has these kind of pillars with looks like like a saucer or a plate to put things on. again, these dishes from events and quest lines. And lastly, but by no means least, the hot tub room. So you can, you know, chill out here. And I've put down this because I'm going to put some partitions here and a shower there to give some idea that this might be, you know, like the shower area or something like that. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with it, but I'm sure I'm going to be collecting an awful lot of other stuff on my new adventures as we continue through Final Fantasy XIV. And so that's that. I think this would be a good place to leave it. I hope that gives you a good idea of what housing is in Final Fantasy XIV, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Take care.